Pairs just don't want to be your friends. Like, Uzukale, you effort. I'm going home. Deuces! What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I am going to spill the tea. Now that my hair is almost up, oh, I can't wait. Or my ears is almost up. I'm gonna spill the tea, the honest truth about au-pairing. And so I may or may not say some things because I may forget. I will definitely come into the comment section and add more past au pairs or au pairs that are still au-pairing. What are the tea? Basically, the purpose of this video is to give you the realistic point of view. That's the best way to say it. The realistic point of view of what you're getting yourself into, because it's a while. I try to prep people as much as possible. You don't want any surprises. For me, I'm like, I don't want you to have any surprises. I want you to come in and be like, I told you so. I told you this is what's gonna happen, or I told you that's not gonna happen. Now, granted that not everything is gonna happen to everyone. However, I would like to just prep you, just give you some of the tea, the real deal, how it's really going. So, number one, it's not like the Flyers fam. Like, there's a similarity, but the Flyers make it seem like you have all these hours, you travel the whole time, it's just vacation, vacation, vacation. The sun is shining, the au pair is like holding these two kids, and they're so happy, and they're at the park, they're swimming, they're on vacation. No, the reality is some host families are not going to want to take you on vacation. Some host families are going to take you on vacation. Ooh, some host families are going to take you on vacation. The kids are not always going to listen that way. It's like a cultural shock. The kids are not always going to listen to you. There are going to be days where you're going to be like, ah, and there are going to be days where it's like, it's amazing. But, oh, and you also only get 2 weeks leave. So you can travel. If your host family doesn't need you to work on the weekends, you can travel a lot on the weekends, but you get 2 weeks leave. I feel like the Flyers, like I see a lot of girls coming in with that, oh my gosh, I get to travel, I get the stipend, I get to do all these things, it's gonna be glorious, my head's gonna be flowing. Nah, fam. Like, the real thing is, you still have to work. It's still a job at the end of the day. No matter how much they say you're part of the family, you still have to get up and you still have to work. You still have to hustle, hustle, hustle. Because some people come and they get a shock because they're like, they asked me to change the cereal box. And I'm like, what were you expecting? Like, were you expecting when they said part of the family that you're part of the family, and so you're like, I'll do it later, mom, I'll do it later, dad. No, it's still a job, fam. It's still a job, so prepare to work. However, this is still a crazy, but fabulous adventure. I'm not bashing it. I'm just telling you that usaso sebenza here. Number two. Number two, guys. 500 is not a lot of money to study. If you like me, or if you like some of the au pairs that I know, you back home in your currencies. This is specifically for people whose currency is weaker than the dollar. You sit in your country and you're like, oh, they're gonna give you 5, and then you convert it to your dollar and you're like, oh, that's enough to study. Nah, fam, it's not enough to study. You can do it. There are au pair courses and au pair, like there are ways around it to study, but don't tell yourself. I've met someone, well, not met her personally, she DM'd me and she was like, she wants to get a master's, and she's like, she's gonna use that money. And I was like, you're gonna use the $500 to do your masters? I want to see this. I said to her, I was like, it's not a lot, my lovey. $500 is not a lot, and some classes you have to actually add from your own pocket. So be aware that $500 is not as much as it may sound in your currency. Okay, number 3, which well, my agency takes this very serious, but some agencies don't. But not all au pairs or LCCs are amazing. Like, my first LCC was amazing, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, LCCs are the best, let's go LCCs. Now, LCCs, for those who don't know, are basically like, they're like your area moms. So when you sign up, you have to have, it's like a government law or something, you have to have an LCC within an hour of you. That way, if anything happens, if you have an emergency, they can come for you, you can go to them, that kind of stuff. But not all LCCs are so good. Like, you get some LCCs that are on top of their game. They make sure your cluster meetings are amazing. They make sure like everything is to the T. And then you get some LCCs that don't really care. Like, you speak to them once and then you speak to them 5 months later and 10 months later. So do not be like, oh my gosh, I have my LTC. Come, obviously you'll always have your LTC. Come knowing that yes, there's gonna be LTCs, whatever. But don't be surprised if you get a trashy LTC. Like, it happens. Like, some LTCs legit ignore. Some LTCs take the host family side if you're in a problem. Just be like, people will be biased, and so if your LTC knows your host family longer than you, some of them will take your host family side. However, there are great LTCs. I've had amazing LTCs. I've had good ones and bad ones. So don't let that bash you, don't let that be a negative. As much as there are terrible LTCs, there's also amazing LTCs. Like, literally, I have some amazing LTCs I've had in my life, so do not let that discourage you from becoming an au pair. Also, same thing, au pairs. Not all au pairs are amazing. Like, some places au pairs are great, they want to be friends with other au pairs, and so you're like, yeah, I'll make friends. And other places au pairs just don't want to be your friends. You come with a new girl, they already have their squad, they already have a circle, so they may not want to hang out with you. You need to be okay and remind yourself that, listen, I came here on my own, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make friends. Now, I'm not saying do not make friends with au pairs. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying don't be surprised if au pairs don't want to be your friend. Don't sit in the house and be like, what's wrong with me? Why me? That's not it. Go out, go make friends, go turn up. This one, number 4. Number 4. You see, in 2016, I was like, I did not have this, and I'm like, why? Well, I had a bit of it, but I was grieving my dad's loss, so I didn't feel it. Now, guys, homesickness is real. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or because it's like people struggle to go home and come in, that whole thing. But the amount of au pairs that I've seen on Facebook and I know of, or just have reached out and they've been like, what do you do when you're homesick? It is so real. Like, Uzukale, you're just like, I just want to touch my mother. Like, you know, if I could just, not even to say like I want to be planted back in, I'm just like, I just want to see my family. Like, I'd be okay if somebody's like, listen, I'm going to South Africa for 2 hours, you want to come? I'll be like, sure. I will fly for 16 to 18 hours, look at their faces and come back. That's how much homesickness will make you go crazy. You'll think until you being a baby, because Mina, I've always like traveled, I've always like lived out of home, and I didn't live at home when I was back. So like, I'm like, why am I so like missing home gangak, or just like missing my humans? I'll always call my family my humans. But homesickness is real. You just have to recognize it. And when you're homesick, stop doodling on like what you don't have, whatever. Go out, do stuff, remind yourself as to why you are here. You were like, okay, well, I always try to remind myself, why did I come? I wanted to travel, I wanted to do this, I wanted to go here. So then I'm like, okay, what can I do today? Obviously, I can't go to like on a vacation, but what can I do today to make myself happy? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have Starbucks. I'm gonna go here. I try to go to places that I know we don't have back home. That way I'm like, okay, I'm taking off something off the list and I'm comforting myself. And then also just tell your friends. Just be like, yo, I feel so homesick. Let's do something. Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a run. Let's climb whatever. Just do that when you get here. But homesick, guys, I just want to let you know, homesick is real. It's like, it's real. But you could even go into depression if you sit and you like twiddle your thumbs. One day you can be homesick, the next day, get up, girl, you must go. So when you come here, just prepare for that, because it's gonna be real. And I've seen and I've spoken to so many girls in like DMs, just on the groups, where they're like, how do you get over it? And so hopefully, now that you know all this, when you come into it, you'll be able to recognize it. Number 5, guys, no matter how amazing your family is, like I am blessed right now, and with my previous host family, with amazing host families. Like, honestly, with my host family, with my current one and my previous one, there's like, when people ask me like, what could you change? I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I'm genuinely blessed with a great host family. However, there are still days where I want to be like, F it, I'm going home. And that also piggybacks the homesickness thing. There are still days where I'm just like, yo, you see today my host kid, I'm go-ish. Like, so there are gonna be days where it's normal for you to be like, you know what, F it, I'm done. And then you're like, wait, I'm my bills, you know. So just be aware that there are gonna be days, there's nothing wrong. It doesn't mean you want to go into room match or you hate your host family or there's something wrong with you. There are gonna be days, and same with host families, there are gonna be days where you going to piss them off. Like, they're gonna be irritated with you, or they just have their own ish happening, and so you think they're moody with you. Meantime, Usisi is stressed about work, Usa is stressed about other things, and you just feel like they're taking it out on you. Well, they can't shout at you or swear at you, but you just feel like they're not cared about you, or you feel like it's cold. Just for situations like that, I always say, one day give grace, 2 days give grace, third day sit down and have a meeting and be like, are you guys okay with me? Do you like my job, whatever? Or be like, however long you can wait, because some people can wait a month with that whole cold thing. For me, I'm just like, wait, what's happening here? And you find that no, maybe at work something's been happening, the host that something's been happening, that kind of stuff. So just know that there are going to be days where you're gonna be like, deuces, but you're not gonna say deuces, you're still gonna be here. I need. This is my bonus point. The country you're in and the way kids were raised in your country is so different to the way kids were raised in the country you're gonna work in. Let me say this again. So the country that you're born in, that you live in, me, Angel, South Africa, the kids there are raised way different to the kids here in America. So don't think when you become an au pair, you look at, and this is like, I think the second family I had, or yeah, it's the second family, where I was like, they said, oh, the kid was hyper. And in my head, I was like, oh, I compared hyper to hyper South Africa. And so when I came here, it was a next level hyper. And I was like struggling because I was just like, no, man, you sure? You sure? And so always remember that there's gonna be cultural clashes with that, because kids in your country may be raised or like taught or disciplined differently. For example, the kids in your country may not be allowed to speak when adults speak, whereas here they want to hear the kids' opinion. The kids have a say. The kids will be like, I want this for dinner, I don't want that. Whereas back home, for you growing up and the kids around you, they just eat what you give them. So be prepared for that. You have to like sit back and realize, because with me, I know with my host kids and how I do with my nephews, it's so different. I always see this switch. When I'm talking to my nephews, I instantly switch back to how you discipline kids in South Africa. And when I'm speaking to my host kids here, I can't do that here, because they'll be like, you're so harsh, you're so mean to me. Or like, you know, whereas it's like, it's different cultures, because I know if I have to do what I do here, back home, my nephews would sit here on my head. They'd be here if I had to do. So it's like, the way they raise their kids here and the way we raise, well, my country raises the kids are different. And so here I had to adapt to, okay, this is an American kid I'm looking after. This is how Americans do. Now there are times where I'm like, okay, we're not doing this, whatever. I'm not saying let the kid walk over you when you come here, but I am just saying that you also have to acknowledge that, okay, this is how the parents do it, this is their style, this is what and discuss it with the parents too, and be like, oh, can I do this? Can I, you know, like have that conversation. But back home, this is how we do it. I don't even have to, like with my nephews, there's certain things I don't count in South Africa, for example. Like if my nephew's naughty, I'm not gonna be 1, 2, 3. You just give a look and they know they need to sort their life out. Here you count, you like 1, 2, and they start running and doing things. Now if I have to come from my nephews back home 1, 2, they look at me and be like, why are you counting, Auntie Angel? Like, why are you counting? Whereas here, if I start counting, people start picking up stuff, start getting their life together, you know? So it's stuff like that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you still come, because this video is definitely not to bash au pairing. It's to encourage you and it's to give you some tea of what happens. There's probably more stuff I just completely forgot. So current au pairs, past au pairs, come in the DMs. Let's give the people some tea, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.